Alright, the next activity that we're going to be doing is a repayment of the loan. Now if you remember at the beginning of the quarter you got a $50,000 loan from the bank, and it's about time that you start paying it back. It's important to see that when you take out a loan, the amount you pay back ends up being a lot more than the loan amount you took. So we are going to set up a payment schedule and actually see how much we're going to be paying back on that $50,000 loan. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to open up your BoxSync folder. You are going to go to CEO Challenge and open up your student workbook. Once you've opened up your student workbook, you are going to find the next project we're working on, which is the repayment of the loan, and that will be on page number 144. It's called Cost of Borrowing Money, Database and Spreadsheets. So this is project number 5 of Unit 3. And the first thing it wants us to do is to open up a document called Cost of Borrowing Money in the Student folder. So let's open up our BoxSync folder. Let's go to CEO Challenge, Student Templates, Unit 3, and then actually it doesn't look like that is there. Alright, once you get to page 144, you're going to notice the first thing it wants us to do is to open up a spreadsheet program. So we're going to be opening up an Excel, a brand new Excel file. So we're going to open up an Excel workbook. And then we are going to follow the instructions. Now I'm going to walk you through part of this, and then I want you to be able to follow the instructions to finish up. But let's look at what it tells us to start with. It wants us to enter a header with our name aligned to one side. We're going to skip this for now. We'll do that the very last step. But we do want to save this as cost of borrowing money. So we are going to go to File, Save As, and we are going to go to BoxSync, open up CEO Challenge, Student Work, Number and Name, and we are going to name this Name, and then Cost of. Now borrowing is a hard word to spell, so make sure that you actually look at it. You want to make sure you're spelling this correctly. It's B-O-R-R-O-W-I-N-G. And then you're going to hit save. Now that this is saved, every time you hit save, it'll save it into the correct file. Now the next thing we're going to do, it says in cell 1 we're going to type business loan. Now you can always copy and paste, which is what I'll do to make sure that my spelling is right and save a little bit of time. So I'm going to click on A1, copy and paste, business loan. And we need to make sure that we make the width large enough. And remember, you change the width by going to the column at the top and dragging it out. In cell H1, we're going to type schedule. Make sure your width is good. E3, payment. So we're going to go to E and then go to the third one down. Put in payment. F3, principal. G3, interest. H3, balance. Now it tells us to click on cell A1 and change the font size to 14. So we're going to click A1, go up to the font and change it to 14. We're going to have to make sure that the width of the column and the row is high enough now to handle that. We're going to go to H1 and change the size to 14 and align it right. So we'll click here. We'll change this to 14. And it wants us to align right. Now you'll notice This one's left, but there is a space. All right. Now it wants us to fill the background color and the back of cells A1 to H3. So A1 to H3 wants us to change the background color, so I'll go ahead and change it to green. And it actually wants us to change it to white, so let's go ahead and go to, or change the color to black and then the text to white. So it wants the background black and the text white. There we go. So we've got the color black, we've got the font color white. Now in A4 we're going to type in amount of loan. So we're going to go to A4, amount of loan. A5, interest rate. A6 times in year. A7, number of years. A8, number of payments. A9, monthly payments. We're going to italicize the contents in cell A9. So to italicize, we want to make sure we're clicked on the cell, and we are going to go to the italicize button right there. And then we are going to, in cell A11, type total payments. We are going to italicize those contents as well, so we're going to click on it and hit the italicize button. And in A12 we're going to put total interest. And it wants us to italicize the contents of cell A12. So we're going to click on A12, make sure we're on there, and hit the italicize button. Now we're going to adjust the width of column A, which is already good. We just want to make sure it's wide enough to take in everything. We're going to enter in the financial information for the loan in column B. So the amount of loan was $50,000. The interest rate is 10%. And we can actually put a dollar sign here, just so you know that it's dollars. $50,000, interest rate 10%, times in year 12. Number of years. So we are going to assume it's going to take us 3 years to pay this back. 3. And then we are going to enter the product formula in cell B8 to determine the number of payments. So we're going to multiply times in a year by the number of years. So B8, we are going to make it equal to the times in a year times, and remember the time symbol is the symbol above the 8, the asterisk. So shift 8, the number of years. And we're going to hit enter. That tells us we have 36 payments total. In cell D4 we are going to enter 1. We're going to use the fill handle to drag to row 39. So in order to fill, we grab onto that little box that you see right there. We are going to click it and drag all the way until we get to cell 39. Now, normally it would change that number, and it didn't. You'll notice that it stayed 1. That's because it doesn't know for sure that it wants us to have a sequence. So if we change, let's say 1, 2, 3, if we highlight that, now Excel is going to know that we're counting and that we're not just trying to copy 1. So we'll go ahead and drag it down now until we get to 39. And now you'll see that we have payments 1 through 36 and it's all set up. So if you ever run into that problem where you try and drag something down and instead of giving you a sequence, it just copies, Excel doesn't know that you're trying to make the sequence yet. So you have to show it what it is you want to do. Alright, so now this formula looks a little bit complicated, but it's actually not too bad. What we are going to do is we are going to enter exactly as we see here. We can just copy and paste, but let's go ahead and type it in so we can get an idea of what we're actually doing. I'm going to move this over a little bit to make it a little bit easier to see what it is that we are going to be putting into the formula. Now it tells us that we need to, in B9, push the equal. We're going to type a capital P, M, T, and then we are going to use an open parenthesis. We are going to click on B5. Then we are going to do the slash B6, comma B8, comma B4. Now, close parentheses. You'll notice that this is exactly what it shows here. We just typed it out and we clicked on each one of the cells when it told us instead of actually typing them in. You can actually type them in if you want to. Now when I hit enter, it's going to tell me how much we're going to pay each month. So now we're going to move on to the next step. In B11 we're going to put the formula B8 times B9. So B11 is equal to B8 times B9. So you'll notice each month we're going to be paying $1,613 and our total payment is going to be $58,000. Just over $58,000. That is $8,000 more than you took out if you pay it back in 3 years. Now B12 we're going to put B11 plus B4. B11 plus B4. That's $8,000 of total interest you're going to be paying. Now, we're getting close to being done. We need to just finish up the rest of our portfolio, the rest of our payment loan. So we're going to read the next step. It says in cell G4, we're going to type B4 times, and then this parentheses B5 slash B6. So you're just going to follow this step by step. So in G4, you are going to press equals B4 times open parentheses B5 divided by B6. Close the parentheses. So it shows us that $416 of our payment is going to be interest. This might be a good time to save. You've got a lot done. If you mess up at this point, you don't want to redo all of those formulas again. If you have to, you can, because it shows us step by step what formula to put into each cell. It's just a matter of doing it. The next one, we're going to select columns E through H. So we're going to drag over so that we can see columns E through H. And once we have E through H, we're going to format the columns to currency. So we are on E through H, we're going to right click and we are going to format cells, and we're going to make sure that we're on currency, and then we're going to press I like the red numbers for negative to let you know you're a negative. You can use the black if you want, but we'll go ahead and do the red and press OK. In cell E4, we're going to type the formula just as it shows right here. So E4 is equal to $, B, $9. And now we have this number right here. The $sign in the formula represents the absolute cell reference and not the formula within the cell in case that formula changes. We're going to copy this formula to the end of the loan by double clicking on the fill handle at the bottom right corner. So remember, we click, we grab the fill, that little box right there, I'm going to pull it all the way down. So we're going to be making this payment every single month. In cell F4, we're going to put this formula in right here. So let's click on F4. Is equal to, notice there's a negative sign. It's kind of hard to read, but negative E4 minus G4. And we're going to hit enter. It tells us how much is principal, how much is interest. And then now in cell H4, we are going to put in this formula right here. H4 is equal to B4 minus F4. Enter. So now we get to see when we make that first payment, $1,613, only $1,196 of it goes to the loan. $416 will go to the interest that we owe, and this is how much we still owe on our loan. In cell G5, we're going to put the formula equals H4, and for this one I'm going to go ahead and just copy and paste this formula in. So I'm going to go to G5, I'm going to paste that in, and you notice the formula is right up here, and I'm going to press enter. Now, you'll notice because I did that, I'm going to have to reformat this cell. I'm going to take bold off because I don't like the bold number there, and I'm going to have to reformat this cell to currency. Now that's one reason why you might want to actually type in the code yourself and not copy and paste, because once you copy and paste you're going to get the bold letters here. Now in cell F5 we are going to put equals E4 minus G5 equals E4 minus F4. E4 minus G5. Sorry. E4 negative E4. It would help if I would read. Negative E4 minus G5. In cell H5, we are going to type the formula H4 minus F5. H4 minus F5. We're going to select F5 to H5. I would say we're actually going to copy all of this, select everything we've just put in. Now that we have enough in here, we're going to be able to fill all of this out, and Excel is smart enough to know that we want to copy this formula down. So we're going to bring it all the way down. Oh. Maybe not. Let's go ahead and try bringing it down like this. Okay, so we do want to just grab that first section and drag it all the way down. And if you notice, it does all of the math for us. We don't have to do any of this math. And it tells us how much of our money, each payment, goes to principal, to interest, and finally, when we're going to have zero money left that we owe. Now we're going to apply borders as needed and fill the text in color as needed. So in order to make this look really nice, we've got it all the way done. It looks really good. We are going to highlight it all, or at least I would say everything that has text in it, and we're going to put some borders on it. So let's add borders here. Let's add borders here. And now we have a completed worksheet. We're going to rename this worksheet to Payment Schedule. So I'm going to copy this, I'm going to rename it Payment Schedule. I'm going to create a line graph comparing principal and interest over the term of the loan. So we've got this all the way done. Now's a really good time to save it. And once we've got it saved, we are going to follow the instructions right here. Select the contents of columns for principal and interest. So principal, interest. For the full term of the loan, including column headers. And we are going to insert a line chart. So we're going to click from here to here, drag it all the way down. So I've got principal and interest, everything in there selected. I'm going to go to Insert. I'm going to go to Chart. And then I'm going to select Line Chart. Now let's go ahead and click the very first one. And now you'll notice it shows you how much of your payment starting off is for interest and how much goes to your principal. As you go, more of your payment goes towards principal and less goes towards interest. And it shows us right away how much money that we spend each month over the 36 months goes to principal and how much goes to interest. That means when you first start paying back your loan, most of what you're paying, or not most, but a lot of what you're paying is interest. It's not even the money you owe. It's not until you start getting towards the end of your loan that more of your money goes to your loan and less goes to interest. This is important because everything you pay extra will go straight to principal and will lower the amount of interest that you have. Now let's move this chart, make it a little bit smaller, and now we can put this chart right next to, or right underneath our business loan. And now we're going to save the file. So as you can see, following all of the formulas you had to put in, you were able to create this chart, something that you would see on a statement from a bank, from a business. And as you learn Excel and start to learn how formulas work, you can really do anything, including setting up formulas for doing math problems, turn this into a calculator almost, and it's really smart. And as you see, once you have the formula set up, Excel can guess what you want to do with the rest of it. So make sure you've saved and you're finished with this project.